Hello and welcome to the Evolve podcast, supporting you to rise above all your limits, connect with the power of your soul, give and receive more love in all forms. So, I'm your host, Tanya Penny. I'm an occupational therapist by degree. I'm an intuitive guide, divine channel, creator of the 10 Evolve Keys, release the 3 Ps, and author of the Connect with the Divine You book and journals. In today's episode, I am excited to talk about receiving divine support and timing. So, divine support, let's just start with what is that? I call it a lot of different things. So, the unseen, I call it, well, let me go back a little bit. So there is divine support in general to me is both unseen and seen support that you receive. So you've heard of people, oh, you're such an angel, you're my earth angel. So there are people on the planet that, well, pretty much everyone on the planet is here to support us on our soul's journey. That's seen support. We also have what I call unseen support, and that's what I'm really going to be focusing on today, the unseen divine support and timing that is always happening and that we always have. So unseen support, I also call that something bigger. And some people call it God, some people call it Jesus, Buddha, Mother Nature. Lots of different words, angels, fairies, spirits, our ancestors can be unseen support. So kind of depending on your belief system and your current opinion around that. And it doesn't mean you have to be religious, I just want to say. So spirituality and religion can go hand in hand for many people. And for some people like me, I don't consider myself religious at all, but I do consider myself deeply spiritual. And I currently call my team of unseen support my higher levels. So let me just share a little bit of my history for those of you that are new to me, because this is important to understand why I'm sharing this today and just how meaningful this is for me. So I grew up Catholic, and I have nothing against Catholicism. It just didn't work for me. I grew up in my Catholic church was very punishing, guilting, shaming. It didn't feel very loving. It didn't feel very supportive to me. So when I turned 18, I pretty much threw out religion, threw out God, because I didn't like the God that I grew up with. And I really didn't get that much into angels and stuff at that time. I just knew that the God that I grew up with wasn't what I wanted. And at that point, I didn't know about spirituality. I wasn't taught about that growing up in small town Wisconsin. You were religious, and that was it. And I didn't want to be. So I threw it out. And I really didn't come back around until I was diagnosed with MS when I was 29. And that's when I started to really understand and learn more deeply about spirituality and came around to, I'm going to say, changing my belief systems and knowing that I could receive support from lots of these unseen, cosmic, energies, whatever you want to call them, light beings. And it has grown, right? I never thought I'd be teaching this, by the way, and in a million years. And as every year goes on, I am 48 now. So my God, 20 years later, so almost 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with MS, and then had it completely healed by 2010. So fast forward to now, my understanding now, and what I really want to support others to do is to find whatever you want to call it, but to have something that is bigger than you, that you believe in, that you deeply know and trust and feel that love and support. And it's life-changing. It's not only helped me heal MS, it's helping me heal lots of things, including lots of past traumas. So that is the what of this. So again, whatever you want to call it, I really just want you to believe in something, trust in something, receive support and love and guidance from something bigger, that unseen divine support. And again, it's so important, and I'll tell you why. Because number one, our health depends on it. When you don't trust fully and receive something bigger support, what you are doing is you are trying to do it all pretty much on your own. You're trying to control, you're striving, you're pushing, you're feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders and everything is up to you. And many of us, many people I work with at least, suffered from that like me, because I grew up where I felt like I really did not have support. I really did feel like I was on my own. My parents did their best, and yet I didn't really feel supported most of the time, except for food, shelter, clothing up to a certain age when I became a teenager. So again, my parents did the best they could. I'm not here. That's not where I'm going with this. It's just that when you don't get that kind of support, which a lot of us didn't fully get growing up, emotional support, got your back support. A lot of us had abuse within our families, including just even criticism, right? That we have this, I can't depend on other people and I have to do it all alone. And the world is on me. And that is a lot of pressure and that is a lot of stress, which we know stress is the number one cause of disease and illness. So why is this important? To go deeper into this, even if you are spiritual right now, even if you think that you fully trust and believe in something bigger right now, I'm going to tell you it is sneaky. And we'll get into that in a little bit, some of these blocks to receiving, and you don't even know that you're blocking the receiving. Again, most of our belief systems are unconscious until we bring them out into the conscious, which I'm here to help you to do. So that's another reason why is it's really important to our health, physically and mentally. It's also important, I would say that's the number one reason. Number two is that we are meant to have and be and create some really amazing things in this lifetime. And if we're stuck in the, I've got to do it all by myself, you're probably not going to get as far. You're not probably going to reach your most full potential. Let's just put it that way. In terms of your soul's purpose. Our soul is meant to be and is always plugged in to something bigger, whether we believe it or not, but it's us blocking it that keeps that from fully happening. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. So most of us don't even realize that even if we say we're spiritual, even if we pray or ask for support every day from the unseen realms, that you are likely still blocking it, given your unconscious belief systems. Our unconscious belief systems and our conscious ones are running the show. And so I really, I want to reach my full potential in this lifetime, what my soul came here to do. And I know that everyone listening to this, you want that as well, right? So those are the two most important reasons why. So let's get into those often unconscious blocks. I'm just going to go through them quickly. And then for those of you that want to go deeper, I have my key program, Trust Something Bigger. We're going to go deeply into all of this. So here's a really interesting thing that I've been teaching probably for the last year, 1 to 3 years. I can't remember. But what we received again as children, and again, I'm not going to blame our parents right now. They did the best they could. But the amount of love and support that we received as a child, remember that mom and dad equaled something bigger, God, if you will. When we were very little, our parents were God. And if you didn't fully receive that love and support, which most people on the planet didn't, because our parents are human, you now have this unconscious belief that you don't deserve it, or you only deserve it to a certain amount, which equals what you got growing up. Until you become aware of this and begin to heal those past wounds, traumas, past negative experiences, whether it was criticism, whether it was worse, right? Your primary caregivers growing up were God. They were your something bigger. And, just in the past week, I'm going to say the past couple of weeks, really, 2 months, I've been doing this deeper ketamine treatment with the intention, because I didn't remember most of my childhood before the age of 10, 11, and I knew there must be a reason why. There must be a ton of trauma, even though I've done a ton of trauma work already. There's got to be some things. And because I have this deep anxiety and distrust that I'm going to be supported, right? There's got to be something there. So it's totally making sense to me now, given all the negative experiences and trauma I had by the hands of my mom and dad. Again, not blaming, just pointing out a fact, right? That of course I would have this deeply, deeply unconsciously embedded belief, and I've been bringing it out to consciousness now, that I don't deserve love and support, that people are always going to betray me, that I'm always going to be punished, that fill in the blank, right? So even after all of these years that I thought I was fully receiving, well, part of me knew I wasn't. I was able to see why, right? So the blocks, one of the biggest blocks is given your childhood experiences and what you received from your primary caregivers. You might want to do some deeper wound and trauma healing, and really look at those limiting beliefs and fears that are keeping you from receiving this something bigger, unseen divine support. Right? Again, whether you want to connect with angels or God or fill in the blank, goddesses. To be honest, I want it all right now. I want all this possible support that I can get from the unseen realms. So that's why I call it higher levels. So let's see, another block. So how you were treated by your primary caregivers and those wounds, what you received or didn't receive. Another big block is just having any kind of negative experience in the past. So now we're going past our parents, and whether it was siblings, whether it was peers, whether it was a teacher, whether it was a stranger, that treated you in an abusive way. Whether it was the death of a family member or death of a loved one, whether it was an accident, whether it was getting a chronic illness. Like when I first got MS, I was like, God is punishing me, because that was my old Catholic upbringing, right? I did something wrong. I'm being punished. And yeah, so here's, I'm starting to plant the seeds for what I call truths now. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but the truth is, you guys, that you gals, guys, you lovely people, you lovely souls, is that they are out there so loving us, so wanting to support us. Our higher levels, unseen teams, never want to punish us. The creator, whatever you call it, him, her, never wants to punish us. Only love us and support us on our specific soul's journey. So the whole judgment thing has to go, and the whole punishment thing has to go. They would never want to punish or judge you. Unlike many popular religious beliefs. If you don't follow the 10 Commandments, this, just as an example, like that's just not anywhere near the truth. You're never being punished. You're never being abandoned because you did something wrong. You're never going to be judged. Now, unless you believe that to be true, then you could possibly make it so. But so anyways, back, I regress. So back to the blocks. If something bad has happened in your past, you've likely had some kind of thought or belief that it's because I'm not good enough. It's because I did something wrong. I'm being punished. Like we automatically jump to the conclusion because of our past conditioning, much of it being religion, that we're being, we must in some way be bad for something bad to happen around us or to a loved one, right? So that's going to be a big set of beliefs that many of you listening, like myself, need to work with. Okay, so those are probably, I'm going to say those are the two biggest blocks I want to cover today. I cover more in the Trust Something Bigger Key program. But those are the two biggies I want to get across today. So what do we do with those? Right? So, people say, well, how do I receive more divine support? How do I connect more with my something bigger, my unseen team? And this is necessary. You can take the actions to connect all day and ask and pray on and on and on. And if you don't clear out these release, shift, whatever word you want to use, become aware of and work with these limiting beliefs, then it is still going to hold you back to some degree, depending on the amount that you hold the limiting belief to be true. So one of the tools, well, I have many tools, but essentially what we need to do is discover what those limiting beliefs are, given our past history, and doing some write and reflect on that. And then what do you want to be true now? Yes, we get to choose what we believe. So what do you want to believe to be true so that you can open up your channel to receiving that unseen, divine, something bigger support? You wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't want that. So planting, what I call planting the seeds of truth. Now, the tools that I use to do that and use in my programs are the self-healing process, the guided therapeutic meditations, and what I call my newest tool, the truth loop. Okay. So also writing it, affirming it. So really planting those seeds on a daily basis. And not just saying it, but being able to feel it in every cell of your body while you continue to heal those past wounds. So that is, in a nutshell, how you start to clear the blocks, the limiting beliefs, maybe the fears. Some people, I used to think, I don't want to connect with, because it was so negative in the past, I definitely don't want to depend on, I can't trust something bigger, right? I couldn't trust my parents, and they equaled something bigger. So there's no way. So it's taken me years to build this. So please be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself, be compassionate with yourself, and know that this is a process like anything, right? So that's one piece of it, is to continue to discover and shift, clear, release those limiting beliefs and fears and plant the seeds of truth on a daily basis. And a bird outside's agreeing with me. I don't know if you can hear that. And then how to receive. So I know this is another thing that religion, I picked up in religion somewhere along the way, is that it was kind of this complicated thing, and I had to pray and ask in the right way in order to receive that love and support. So again, that's the perfectionist, right? There's a right and wrong way. And what I have found to be beneficial for me and most of my clients is to keep it simple. So first, build that trust and belief muscle that you are supported and loved, regardless of your past, regardless of the quote unquote bad things that happened. Those quote unquote bad or challenging things that happened, again, the truth is your soul has chosen those. There's not some man in the sky saying, Tanya didn't eat her vegetables. And so, and this is me as a child, didn't eat her vegetables. So now I'm going to punish her, right? And I'm going to give her, abuse or whatever. So, so that is a big truth, right? That we really need to plant in order to now receive that love and support from our unseen team, which, oh my gosh, you guys, is so huge. When I work with people, I can feel, and if I ask, I can see and get guidance on who's a part of their team. So some people find that useful, right? To know who's their guardian angel. Mine's name is Susie. To know what guides and angels are with you strongly right now. We usually have at least 7 to 10, even though many of us have unseen teams that have at least 80 plus. Some of us hundreds, okay? So for some of you, you might want to be praying to a specific angel or a specific goddess, or, just in general, God, Jesus. Again, I work with people of all different religions and spirituality. I've got atheists, and I've got LDS and Catholic and Lutheran, and I've got everything in between. So I'm not saying any of these religions are wrong. I believe that as long as you have this belief and support and this strong connection with a loving support of something bigger, unseen team, that's all I'm asking for anybody on this planet. So keep it simple. Some of you might pray to, and maybe you don't like the word pray. So meditation is really just asking and listening. That is really the key here, is that you take time every day, and definitely every morning, even if it's a couple of minutes. And the way that I like to do it is I like to sit with my coffee and my journal, and I actually write in my journal higher levels. And then I write a list of things that I would like support with. Sometimes the list is long, sometimes it's short. And then I ask, so then I'll write it, and I also speak it. I'll say, higher levels, please assist me with this, this, and this. Can you please guide me on this? Give me clarity on this. And is there anything that you want to share with me right now? Now, I say higher levels because I want guidance from anybody in my unseen team. You might be asking someone specifically. There is no right or wrong here, you guys, is what I'm trying to say. It's what works for you. As long as the unseen person or team you're talking to is loving and supportive, and you believe that 100%, that's cool. right? You got it. So then I'll stop and then I'll close my eyes and I'll breathe and I'll see if anything comes in. Sometimes I get words. That's usually my way of getting guidance. Sometimes you know, I will get an image sometimes, you know. So I'll write it down. Whatever comes in, I'll write down. So don't discount anything. Oftentimes when we get guidance, it might not make logical sense always. And there's a part of you that might not like it. So that's one of the other things, right? Is a lot of times when we get guidance, our ego parts, our wounded parts, our fearful parts say, hell no. So what I do to bypass that is I say, any guidance we get today, we don't have to do anything about it. If we choose not to, then at least it can come in, right? At least you're not resisting any of the guidance that's coming in. Now, I also use other tools, right? I use tarot, different kinds of tarot or angel cards. Some people, there's lots of different tools. We can get signs from our unseen team in clouds or songs or literally signs on the road. So I always say when I'm done with my morning, my little morning meditation, ask, listen, I will say, all right, higher levels, please continue to guide and support me throughout the day, loud and clear. And anything that would block me from seeing and receiving your love and support and gifts, please help me to clear it with as much ease, grace, and speed as possible. So that is how I start my morning. And then over time, what I've been doing, this didn't happen right away, is I check in. I check in often. Usually every time before I have a new client, I will say, please guide me. Their higher levels, my higher levels, please guide me. If I'm going to do something that seems hard or difficult, I'll say, higher levels, please help this be easy. Please give me the courage. So I'm pretty much talking in conversation with my higher levels all day long now. But that has taken years. So again, start simple. Know that you cannot do this wrong. And believe while you continue to clear out those limiting beliefs and fears, right? Often unconscious. So that's what I want to share about divine support, the unseen divine support today. And then I'd also like to just add in divine timing. So what is divine timing? So the way I see divine timing is my soul, right? My soul has a journey it's chosen, and my soul has timing. And I also know that oftentimes my higher levels are working behind the scenes for me. So let me give you an example. I knew early this year, I knew early this year that we were going to be wanting to move somewhere, like still stay in Hawaii, but move to a different space. And so I put out there, right, to my higher levels, hey, this is a list of everything I would love. I wrote down a list, and I trust I'm gonna start looking, right? I'm gonna do my part, and then I'm gonna trust in divine timing, right? So that oftentimes there's things happening behind the scenes that we don't have control over, but trusting that our higher levels have our back, and that there's also our soul timing, right? For everything to come in alignment versus our ego. And I like to explain this, right? Many of you have heard me talk about the 3 Ps, the perfectionist, the people pleaser, the part of you that is pretending to be superhuman. Our superhuman wants to make things happen now, wants to force, push, strive, right? Exhausting, stressful, oftentimes creates restriction and cuts down the flow of receiving. So, we kind of started putting it out there in January, and we ended up not moving until May. And even that, our lease wasn't done until July at the previous place. And I was like, higher levels, please help me get out of this lease. We don't want to live here anymore. And by God, something was created where they had to let us out of the lease. I'm not going to get into that, but so divine timing, it's both your soul's timing, right? We've all got these timelines, and then what's happening behind the scenes with our unseen something bigger team is in the works behind the scenes, and trusting that everything happens in divine time. Now, that is still one for me that I can get impatient and I can get afraid and I can want something to happen now, you know? So I still have to work with that part of me, that superhuman part of me. So that's what I mean by divine timing and trusting in that. And that is a daily practice for me, for sure. All right. Well, I hope that you guys found this episode maybe a little bit informational, maybe a lot informational, maybe enlightening, maybe it gave you hope. And if you found that you would like to go deeper, I'd love for you to join me in the Trust Something Bigger Key program. And if you know anybody that you think would benefit from this episode, please feel forward to pass it on. And as always, I honor you, I love you, and just sending you so much courage and compassion to do this deeper work that every single soul on the planet is being called to do now. It's time that we stop thinking we're alone, believing that we're doing this alone. And this unseen team is just waiting for you to fully open, to ask, to listen, to receive. And we're doing it one day at a time. So practice, again, clearing out the gunk, right? Shifting the gunk, and then carving out time to connect with your unseen divine team. That is another block that I forgot to mention real quickly, not taking the time. So it's just a practice. You know, I would put into my schedule a little reminder, connect with something bigger. Like every hour, I would put it in a reminder, like an event on my electronic calendar. So like anything, it takes practice, and it's making it a habit and to do that. All right. Love you guys. Bye.